Okay, so first question, what are you listening to here?
Ooh. Whatever was randomly on my MP3 player.
Okay.
Maybe.
So just music though.
Yeah, no like audiobook or anything. Probably some Manu Chao.
Okay. So during this first like mellow part of your ride in the sort of back streets, are you sort of thinking about anything here, or?
Probably how fast I'm gonna have to ride to work. Like how much time do I have?
Right.
Kind of like jumpstarts your day, you know.
What do you think about these roundabouts? What's your experience with them?
For the most part, positive. I mean, you have to expect that drivers aren't going to see you. But I like anything that... I don't mind slowing down, but stopping sucks. Sometimes this is a pretty busy intersection, so it's like, do I merge right in, even though there's space for me to kind of slowly move over, or do I wait until there's a gap in traffic? There's a lot more going on, so you have to, kind of get your game face on, and now you're surrounded by cars.
Yeah.
You know, there's people on the corner, there's a car waiting to pull out, there's cars beside you. So there's kind of three variables that weren't there a second ago.
Do you feel like, do you get the sense that you're kind of suddenly in a little bit more of a riskier situation?
I mean, you kind of get used to it. I still prefer not to be in that situation, but and after Europe, like these situations made me uncomfortable, even though after years of being a road rider and years of commuting, I'm more aware of these kind of more dangerous situations than I ever used to be, because before that's all I knew. It's kind of sketchy watching how close cars come to you. You know, like you kind of have a sense when they're right there, but from a video from behind, it's like, what if that guy moved over a foot?
And how does a big van like this, when you're riding next to it, compare to, a regular sized car?
Big trucks are sketchy, but it's more how they drive by you.
How do you figure out when you're going to cut over?
From about 11th Ave, I start to see if there's a gap in traffic where a car is not flying up behind me, and so I will, as soon as there's a bit of a gap, I'll take over that position, and they might have to slow down and wait for me, but I kind of take over that space.
And so after all that, how does it feel then to get onto 10th here?
It's much more enjoyable. That 3 blocks is kind of, a bit hairy, but 10th is still sketchy if there's an oncoming car. Like, there should only be parking on one side of the street. It's just, I mean, if cars on both sides open the doors, then you would get hit if you weren't right in the very middle. So I ride pretty much up the middle of the road. I usually move at a pace that I don't have to worry about cars behind me, because not that I'm going the speed limit here, but I'm going close enough that cars don't usually pass. And there's not really an opportunity for them to pass, because I'm not going to move over or stop for them to go by. Like, I'm not going to put myself in door danger, so they can just wait. In my world, I would just make separated lanes everywhere, and it would catch on pretty quick. But you have your space, we have our space, and now I'm probably looking at the mountain because it is sunny. But I'm always kind of seeing if I can scoot across. It's rare
Here?
in the morning, yeah. It can be done. Okay, so let's look at, so it's orange for them.
Yeah.
And there's no cars coming. but he didn't even look at me. He never even saw me. That's why I was like, I basically went up and was like looking like, hey, you should look around. Not that I like go bang on a car like, hey idiot, look, but I sometimes try and like shock people so that they're aware that there's other things going on around them and they should maybe open their eyes a little bit.
So here, crossing over Main Street, we had the pedestrian crossing, obviously, but we also had the stop sign there. So you just kind of power right through it. So in that kind of a situation, do you normally ignore the stop sign altogether?
Yeah.
Okay.
I treat it almost like a roundabout. Proceed with caution. I mean, it's all about momentum, right? Pedaling a bike that's moving is zero work, but stopping and starting, same within a car, it takes so much energy. I'm all about efficiency, whether I'm in a car or on a bike, saving gas, saving energy. It just, if you can slow down and be equally as safe,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my philosophy.
Coming up here, instead of lining up behind this guy, you kind of line up to the left of him and ahead of him.
He's not paying attention, so chances are the light's going to turn and he's still going to be texting.
Yeah.
If he looked like a hardcore commutard, I'd probably go behind him. But I start to go as the light's orange, I start to roll through. Like I make sure cars are stopping,
Yeah.
and then I start to go through, whereas most people wait until they hear the little toot toot.
How does it feel cruising down this long hill here?
You gotta be careful because you're at a higher rate of speed and there's cars, there's 2 stop signs. Luckily they're 4-way, but that's still, people creep way out to see because there's cars parked on the side of the street. So you gotta be really, really careful. And there's Popo.
There's a full stop with foot down and everything.
But you know what? I would have, even if that wasn't a cop, I would have done that anyway because it was clearly their turn to go.
Okay.
I don't clearly break the law when there's police watching.
Right.
That would be foolish. But I would have stopped had that been a Honda Civic too. See, I want to go across there. I'm checking, but I can't see because of the bus.
Well,
See?
you
Commutard.
You got past there.
But he's clearly a commutard. He's got a rain cover on his backpack.
In the sunshine.
Yeah.
So right here.
And he was smart. He probably slowed down, seeing that the light was changing, so he could blow through as soon as it went green. Yeah, I have no problem with that, but chances are I'm probably not going to try and pass him because he rides like me.
You sit up and you take your hands off the handlebars, and I don't know if you're taking your gloves off. You're doing something here.
I was getting hot because I'm wearing my wool jacket to show the world that you can do it. So, I mean, I purposely I have more bike gear than most people, but I'm purposely not wearing bike gear because I want to kind of break the stereotype of you have to look like an idiot to be a cyclist in the city.
Right.
That's why I sweat my wool.
And what do you think that'll do, you changing that stereotype?
Well, I don't know if I'll single-handedly change it, but just to show that, I don't know, like someone who's going to an office can ride their bike, or you don't have to go out and buy new clothing to go ride a bike. Well, I think it's a symbol of moving forward and where things are going to go. Whether people want cycling to expand or not, it's going to. I mean, with space constraints, with costs, I mean, I think it is part of a bigger shift, and you can get to work feeling like you're contributing a little bit more to a positive world rather than a destructive act. So it's moving to a society that people want to live in rather than just living in a society that's there. You know, trying to create something that's better, and I think bikes are doing that. Like, it's a symbol of something that's better.
And it looks like you're looking out at the water a lot here.
I like to try and take in a bit of
You're
view
just trying to
while I
soak
can.
it in a little bit.
Yeah, because you only get to do that right along here. Otherwise, you're trying to fight for your life on the road. I mean, that's part of the reason, I'd say, that's a lot of the reason why I live in Vancouver, is because they're moving in the right direction, and I know I see it moving forward. I mean, you can call it a green city, which is great, I'm down with that, but ultimately it's more livable, which why would you not want a more livable city, right? So
I stopped for you. I should have known. Alright, we'll go through after these cars.
usually, I mean, that's about a second. I was about a second behind where I usually am.
Yeah.
Especially there, because I know it's changing, so you can just, you don't, if you hesitate, you're screwed. That's a tough situation. Not a car around.
So a year ago you wouldn't have stopped at any of this.
No.
So why? What happened? What's different than a year ago?
I lived in Europe,
Right.
so there's kind of a. Usually you have your own space, and I feel like if you have your own space, you're much more likely to follow the rules. Whereas if you're fighting and you, I mean, cars don't treat you as equal, so then you don't really have to be equal, right? Whereas if you're on your own bike, you have your own space, you should follow whatever rules are for that space. To make a bike go on a road with cars and then say you have to follow the same rules, I don't think that's fair. I think that's saying, here, risk your life, but gain nothing. You know, I think there needs to be, if you're safe and you can ride enjoyably, yeah, I'll trade off and I won't run stop signs. I'll obey all the rules. You know. Yeah, this is go time, because you kind of gotta, all right, game on, and go.
Yeah.
It's downtown, 2 lanes of traffic, bumpy road, pedestrians everywhere. Final stretch.
How does it feel when you're like surrounded by cars like this?
I mean, it's not enjoyable. It's like it's down to business.
Game on in the sense that you're just, you know, having to protect yourself here?
Yeah, it's like you're in the rat race again, you know? Like, I enjoy biking because you're not just stuck in a shitty traffic situation, you know? Yeah, and you're fighting for space here. I mean, there's not even lines painted on the road, so cars are kind of all over the place. And
It seems like you are kind of taking advantage of your maneuverability a little bit, like sort of pulling out and sneaking through places here.
Yeah, or else you get stuck there. I mean, traffic backs up, so why not go around it? I mean, you use whatever advantages you have. If you're carpooling, you use the carpool lane. If you're biking, you use the bike lane, or I bike so I don't have to wait in traffic. That's one of the advantages of cycling. I mean, I wait when I have to, but if there's a big line of cars at a stoplight and there's space for me to go, I will go up to the front.
So you feel like, in a sense, that you're entitled to have that advantage?
That would come up. I wouldn't say entitled, but it's there. I won't do it if it's putting other people out. Yeah, I mean, cars do it too. If there's space, they'll squeak by a car that's turning or whatever. It's making use of the space that's there, whether it's 100% proper or not. Maybe not. Like, I don't think I broke breaking laws there. If a car could fit there, it would go there.
Yeah.
And like, if you're riding in on the viaduct and there's just 100 cars backed up halfway, and you just are riding freely by, like, I kind of feel like that's when a driver may look over and think a little bit, and it's just like, oh wait, what are my options here?